Heat 1 out of 6. Let's have a look at the grid. So Callum Bradshaw will start from pole position. Lachlan Robinson will start from second. It's Luca Lystra in the 356 that will have Italy's Elia Galvanin alongside. As we see one of the karts going off the circuit, possibly Flint Schuring or Moritz Schmeis. Well, it would have been one of those two drivers. Tobias Poschek and Luca Thiel. That's an all Austrian-German row 3. Luca Köster and Benedek Vida representing Germany and Hungary, respectively, row 4, with Turkey's Erhard Türker in the 347 and Poland's Patryk Donica in the 382, as we've already had dramas. And that is, I can't make out who that is on the circuit. I'm wondering whether that might be at the back end of the field. We've got that's Patryk Donica that's just pulled off to the side, I think, or is that Luca Köster? That could be Luca Köster because he hasn't crossed the timing beam. So P7 will be devoid of any entrant there. Flint Schuring in 11th, Beard Dorrestein in 12th, head of Lukas Hartmann, Moritz Schmeis, Christopher Zaxa and Alexander Abkazava. It looks like Abkazava's a non-starter as well. Or is he going to be released from the pre-grid? So 10 minutes plus an additional lap. So Luca Köster on home soil knows this track very well. He won here at this very circuit last year on the Saturday of the opening round of the RMC Germany season. The frustration, very, very clear to see there. Yes, and it was Kraft Motorsport colours, I'm afraid, so yep. That means that he will not partake in this race, and it will put him on the back foot already before the race weekend for Senior Rotax has even gotten started. Now they go on to the formation lap. It will be down to Callum Bradshaw and Lachlan Robinson to control the pace. Pole position. When you see the karts coming towards you on your screen, well, that's effectively on your left-hand side, but pole position is on the right on this circuit. So 14 out of the 16 runners and riders in this race will go to the rolling start formation. It's always about understanding the weather conditions. You've got limited time. Now, Lachlan Robinson, much more improved in the wet in comparison with what we had last season. His test of fire and brimstone came at the International Trophy at Portugal last December. And yep, that is the case. Luca Köster not taking any part in this race. Great pickup by the camera crew there. So it's Bradshaw on pole, Robinson alongside. Into the tram lines we go. The revs start to rise. Are we ready? The lights are out and we are off and racing. And Lystra already up the inside of Robinson before they've hit the apex for turn 2. As people are scrabbling for traction. And it was 3 abreast at one point. Oh, someone's gone off. It's one of the KSB karts. That's probably Patryk Donica. As through into the left-hander here at turn 4 for the first time. All bumping over the curbs. It's all one long line. As oh, no, someone's gone grass tracking. That looked to be one of the KSB karts. Tobias Poschek, who's just lost out a couple of positions, having done a Matthias Ekström there through the chicane. 9 minutes and 21 seconds on the clock remaining. Oh, that's one of the JJ Racing karts that has gone wide, and that would have been Luca Thiel. Moritz Schmeis is in there. Also got Benedek Vida, Lukas Hartmann, amongst others, as they surge their way. We're almost at the completion of the first lap of racing, and some drivers using unusual racing lines, but it's expected in these wet weather conditions, as Callum Bradshaw continues to lead. Luca Lystra second, Lachlan Robinson in third. Now Erhard Türker has made his way up to 4th position, and he's ahead of Benedek Vida. Looks like Tobias Poschek is in 6th ahead of Lukatil. Alexander Abkazava, as I thought might be the case, opted to start from the from the pit lane, as there's a massive battle here. Benedek Vida trying to get one up on Ehad Turka. There's Callum Bradshaw putting in the fastest laps of the race, a 1 minute 5.868 for the Brits, based out of Leicester. Lystra is only half a second behind, as that's a three-way scrap there. Elliot Galvanen in the middle of it, Patrick Donica, and also Maurice Schmeis, as they are all changing positions. There's Kraft Motorsport's Lukas Hartmann in the 306, getting well and truly stuck in. A little bit further back, you've got Patrick Donica in the middle of Christopher Zaxer and Alexander Abkazava. Abkazava still at the back end of the field. And, Abkazava has yet to cross the timing line, I think, after the first lap. Has got a lap in the books. No, Abkazava is actually ahead of Christopher Zaxer. My apologies there, and they're still battling away. Maurice Schmeis coming under pressure right now from Lukas Hartmann. So Hartmann trying to make a move up the order. Elia Galvanin rounding out the top 10. But between Bradshaw and Lystra last time around, it was 0.172 of a second. Lystra's gone quickest. As again bumping over the curbs. Oh, sideways for Elia Galvanin. And up the inside goes Maurice Schmeis. And here comes Lukas Hartmann. He's going to try and force it. Oh, there's contact between the pair. Schmeis has to go off the circuit. So effectively, what happens now is that might be looked at. And there is drama's Elliot Galvanin out of this race. So a real shame for the Italian. He's going to be on the back foot, just like other drivers that might be compromised in these wet weather conditions. But at the moment, Callum Bradshaw has started to extend his lead. These conditions are still rather treacherous. And now Bradshaw leads Lystra by just under half a second. Lachlan Robinson 4.2 seconds behind. Ehad Turka is closing in on the Dubai-based driver for P3. But double waved yellows we've got there because of Galvanin, so they've got to slow down. There's no overtaking. We've got just over 5.5 minutes remaining on the clock. And Lystra trying to close in that gap. Lachlan Robinson has dropped a significant amount of time in the last couple of laps and has ended up in P4 as Ehad Turka, formerly of KR Sport colours, now under the Buvin Power awning. The Turkish driver based out of Istanbul now up into P3 and had made some pretty good inroads. So we are now down. So there's a bit of a move there from Luca Lystra up the inside of Callum Bradshaw, but Bradshaw frantically wrestles with the car. He knew that he made a slight mistake there, going through that right-hander, and instantly managed to get past Lystra without any sort of real fight back. And one of the things here in these wet weather conditions, it is about mechanical sympathy, but also controlling and conserving your efforts towards the race weekend, because the drivers are being put through the ringer that little bit more in terms of the wherewithal, as Robinson now finding a bit more pressure from behind. Lukatil and Benedek Vida closing in on the driver based out of the UAE, and he's going to lose out another position to Lukatil. And that's the battle for 4th, 5th and 6th, but Robinson a bit more accomplished in the wet. If anyone might remember the second final at Karting Genk, where it was intermittent conditions, as Robinson now trying to get past Benedek Vida back into the chicane. 326 from KR Sport manages to get through and retake that 5th position into the next chicane. Benedek Vida trying to get past again. But Robinson making that car as wide as possible. A little bit further back, you've got Flint Schuring. And that was a nice little dainty move from Beard Dorrestein up the inside of Tobias Poschek. Oh no, it wasn't Tobias Poschek, it was Maurice Schmeiz. There's Tobias Poschek there, and he's having a ding-dong battle there with Lukas Hartmann, who banzais his way up the inside. Closing in on them is the Georgian, Alexander Abkazava. There is a few more battles to be waged here, and this is the battle for 5th place, as Luca Thiel has dropped both Lachlan Robinson and also Benedek Vida, who are within a tenth and a half of each other. And Vida goes up the inside of Robinson, but instantly Robinson able to counter-attack. He's gotten a lot more he's got a lot better in the wet, and he's able to read the conditions a little bit more. Considering that last year was his first taste of international competition from a European Championship perspective, and now Robinson running not just in the Euro Trophy this season, but also is 3rd in the standings for the senior Rotax division in the B&L karting series that just recently, 2 weeks ago, had its 2nd of 3 rounds. So a bit of sideways momentum from right to left for Lukas Hartmann on the back axle of that kart as he battles away with Maurice Schmeiz. They're going through the chicane. And they've got Tobias Poschek from Austria closing in on them. Just over 2 minutes and 20. Plus an additional lap. A little bit of sideways drift there going into the left-hander courtesy of Maurice Schmeiz. As Tobias Poschek nearly gets up the inside of Lukas Hartmann, going through into the penultimate right-hander. And look how close they're getting to the wall once again. Oh my goodness me. So, we've already gotten through 4/5 of this race. We're now into the final 5th. But Luca Lystra now has a 2.6 second lead over Callum Bradshaw. And Bradshaw has just set the fastest lap of this race. There again is Schmeiz versus Hartmann, back into that chicane. Hartmann looking to get past Schmeiz, not giving him an inch. But if they hit those curves too hard, they both go very, very wide. I mean, look at the approach they're using. Going through is, oh, there's another tag, and Schmeiz is sent off the circuit. Left front onto right rear, and Lukas Hartmann did the right thing and gave the position back. However, it's dependent on what happens, because race control will very much be looking at that slight incident. Okay, they might say it's a racing incident, but it's down to them. It was the slightest of touches, and in these wet weather conditions, that can send somebody sideways. As now, Hartmann tries to go side by side with Schmeiz, going down the start-finish straight. On that particular occasion, no dice there for the 3.06, as Tobias Poschek from Austria closing in. Hartmann again looking closer and closer. Every passing second on Maurice Schmeiz, and Hartmann looking again. He's nigh on bump draft, and you can see that the front bumper is planted neatly in the back bumper of Maurice Schmeiz, but Tobias Poschek lost a little bit of time and has taken a bit of a wider line there. That could allow Alexander Abkazava to close the gap, the Georgian, who started, let's not forget, from the pit lane. So time is close to expiring. Christopher Zaxa has parked the car. Right, penultimate lap, lap number 10 out of 11 here in Muelsen. And Lystra leads Bradshaw by 3.3 seconds. Ehad Tucker, Luca Thiel, Lachlan Robinson has managed to get a bit further up the road from Benedek Vida from Hungary in the battle for P5. But Maurice Schmeiz and Lukas Hartmann, they're still battling over what is 9th position on the road, and Hartmann is doing everything in his power to try and get past. But one of the things is that Maurice Schmeiz is probably not just looking forward all the time, but more than likely not blinking. As there goes Hartmann up the inside. Schmeiz is going to have to give him room, and does so. And Lukas Hartmann manages to get through for 9th position, but then Maurice Schmeiz goes up the inside through the next right-hander, and Hartmann manages to get the traction down first. And Tobias Poschek closing in on Schmeiz, as is Georgia's Alexander Abkazava. So final lap board is out. 3.6 seconds is the gap between Lystra and Bradshaw. Lystra started 3rd. Bradshaw started on pole position. He was the fastest in qualifying during what was very nice, sunny and dry weather conditions. It's going to be pretty much a mere formality for Lystra to come across the line first, with having initially gotten past Bradshaw. So the 356, Lystra currently in the lead of the standings for the B&L karting series, but also he's third in this championship as well. Out of the final corner he comes. Belgium's Luca Lystra wins a topsy-turvy senior Rotax Heat 1. Callum Bradshaw takes P2. Wait for the rest of the field to come through, and very shortly there's Erhard Turka, who is being closed in on by Luca Thiel, but the Turkish driver takes third place. Lachlan Robinson started on the front row and still managed to get a P5 at the end of it, just fractionally ahead of Benedek Vida. Flint Schuring rounding at the top 7. 3 retirements in this race. Luca Costa didn't even make it to the red lights going out. So he retired very early on indeed, when frustration was clear to see. Elia Galvanin on lap number 3 in the kitty litter on the outside of the penultimate right-hander, with Christopher Zaxa retiring on lap number 8. Let's have a look at the full classification. All results are provisional, pending any judicial and technical matters. Luca Lystra wins Senior Rotax Heat 1 out of 6, ahead of Callum Bradshaw by 3.296 seconds. Erhard Turka in third, Luca Thiel in fourth, Lachlan Robinson in P5, Benedek Vida, Flint Schuring, Beer Dorrestein, Lukas Hartmann, Morris Schmeis, Alexander Alcazava, Tobias Poschik, with Patrick Donica being the last of the 13 drivers that finished the race, with retirements from Christopher Zaxa, Elia Galvanin and Luca Costa.